Part 2. Yeah, so it's the Colognes versus the Brian Kendrick and Goldust. So basically the idea is Brian Kendrick is trying to find a partner, so I'm sure this will be an on-running theme in which Kendrick every week tries to find the partner. And this is an okay match, but it's very short. Goldust goes in at first, and he isn't aggressive enough for Brian Kendrick's liking. So Brian Kendrick wants tagged in, and then he shows him how it's done, which of course leads to Brian Kendrick losing the match after attempting sliced bread. I wonder if he's ever going to hit sliced bread on Raw, and then being pinned after a high springboard crossbody by Primo, which is, you know, fair enough, I suppose. It's a bit of a weak ending, but okay. He blames the defeat on Goldust, slaps him around a bit, and then Goldust gets angry with him, and then Hornswoggle makes a run in. You know, this is just endemic of what Raw is about right now. Hornswoggle comes in and attacks Kendrick and low blows him, I think, and Goldust protects Hornswoggle. So Hornswoggle and Goldust are definitely forming this oddball tag team crap. Okay, I'm Cam. But overall, the Brian Kendrick, you know, when he came over in the supplemental draft, I was thinking they're not going to do anything with him on Raw. But actually, he has been on pretty much every episode of Raw, and he is jobbing, kind of, but he is getting his own entrance music and stuff like that usually, and, you know, he did pick up that win over Carlito, so overall they are, you know, he is at least appearing. He's not just a jobber, he's not an out-and-out jobber, but, okay. Then we have another Miz segment, about John Cena, or directed to John Cena, where he says he's 4-0. Just a really good promo once again. He's interacting with the crowd in the same way he did at Judgment Day, and I really like that. I think he should keep doing that, because that's the way to get heat by, you know, The Rock always used to interact with the crowd. That's the way to get people to like you or hate you. Basically, he does John Cena's rap Word Life, but he calls it Nerd Life, and it's not very funny, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. Cena, he calls Cena out again, but Cena doesn't come out. Why isn't Cena coming out? Like, I don't even get that. Why doesn't Cena just come out and beat him and prove the point? I don't know. Then Jerry the King Lawler gets up and he says, you can't just claim to be 5-0 because Cena hasn't shown up. You don't win a match by your opponent not showing up. And he gives the example by calling out Bruno Sammartino, who no one in the audience has heard of apparently, Hulk Hogan, who everyone's heard of, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, who even more people have heard of, to a 3-on-1 handicap match. And when they show up, he claims, see, I'm not 1-0 against them, which I thought was pretty funny. And he says, he advises The Miz to talk to Vicky Guerrero about getting a match with John Cena, at which point the Big Show comes out, and the Big Show says, make believe time's over, alright, I'm getting John Cena at the next pay-per-view, so you're just going to have to wait. It's going to be a submission match, a match which Cena literally cannot win. Okay, yes, but you're not exactly known for your submission arsenal, Big Show, but okay, whatever. And then The Miz goes, he goes, okay, fair enough, I can wait to beat Cena. I'll wait till he beats you, and then I'll beat him. At which point, Big Show tries to attack The Miz. The Miz holds Jerry the King Lawler in front of him, then runs away, and then the Big Show beats up the King. We come back from the break, and Jim Ross is now on commentary to commentate on Matt Hardy versus MVP. So they're selling the King's injury, and basically they're selling the camel clutch, which the Big Show did on the King, as a proper submission hold. US Championship match between MVP and Matt Hardy. This is a fairly good match. MVP's firmly back on the mid-card now, it has to be said, but this is fairly good. They both try a roll-up early on. Matt Hardy hits the side effect, but they don't really call it or anything, so it just seems like, you know, nothing. Matt Hardy then does a chop block with his cast and starts to work the leg and the knee of MVP. MVP comes back and seems to forget that he's a face by being rather aggressive on Matt Hardy's cast and just attacking the cast. Hits it off the ring post and steel steps. And then at the end, MVP does the running kick to the corner and then the playmaker. This was as good as a match as I've seen in recent weeks on Raw. So, you know, like I said, the wrestling was a bit better on this week's Raw. Just overall, it was just worse. Then we had a Ric Flair and Batista backstage segment in which Ric Flair is grinning and he claims he's going to call out Randy Orton next week. Batista rightly goes, "You're retired, Rick. Don't ruin it. Your last match was your best one ever." And Ric's like, "Oh, you just don't think I can do it anymore. I can do it. I can still fight. I don't want to be retired. They retired me." And then he says that he's going to do it anyway and he won't be in Batista's corner tonight. Then we get a really hilarious segment. I have to say, it was really funny. It's wrong that it should be on a wrestling show or anything, but it was really funny. Chavo Guerrero was lying on the ground. Vicky Guerrero is standing on the couch and Chavo's trying to teach her how to do a frog splash. At which point Santina comes in and says, "It's fitting that you're going to do this because the only way you'll be able to beat me for the Miss WrestleMania crown is when pigs fly," which is just a brilliant line, just brilliant. And then he makes his pig noises, which was, and he says that means good luck in your language, but I'm sure you know that. Then we have Santina versus Vicky Guerrero for the Miss WrestleMania crown, and just to show what I was talking about earlier, how annoyed Jim Ross is by this whole thing. He describes this sarcastically as the biggest match he's ever called, and basically just furious throughout. We get another Santino promo beforehand, and I'm like, overkill on Santino tonight, in which he basically just kisses Vicky Guerrero and then says it tastes like pork, which was odd. Also, Vicky Guerrero didn't come out to any theme music. She just came out to a chorus of boos, but she seemed to have theme music by the end of the night. I don't know. Anyway, this as you might expect, wasn't really a match. Chavo came in and just made it no disqualification instantly, then attacked Santina from behind. They fought for a bit. The crowd, of course, are really into it whenever Santino or Santina brawl with someone, and or cheering and booing. Then William Regal comes in and just destroys Santina. Vicky Guerrero gets the pin. She's the new Miss WrestleMania. She does some rather disturbing dancing. And JR says, "The sash is going to need an expansion." Look who's talking. But yeah, anyway. Vicky seems really happy that she's Miss WrestleMania. And then we have the main event. Legacy versus Batista and Cena in a handicap match. I'm not actually sure who has the handicap here. I mean, is it Batista and Cena because they have one less man, or is it Randy Orton because he has to fight with Legacy? This was pretty good. This was pretty good. Legacy were all really quite aggressive. They all were working on the head of their opponents, including one point where Cody Rhodes literally missed a kick by this much. It was ridiculous by how much he managed to miss a kick. But to redeem himself, he did do a rather brilliant moonsault. Basically, Batista gets worked over for a bit. Cena gets worked over for a bit. Batista eventually gets the hot tag. Cena goes out of the ring and attacks the Big Show, although we don't get to see it until like replays and stuff. Batista's 3-on-1, but Cody Rhodes gets thrown off the top rope by a mysterious stranger. Again, the camera work was all wrong in this, which turns out to be Ric Flair. Batista spears Orton and gets the clean win. Pretty decent match. Yeah, so that was the end of the show. And you know, there were some good things on it, there were some funny things on it, but it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. About 2 matches on the Extreme Rules cards have been made and they both sound awful. Anyway, please feel free to rate this video, to comment on this video. Just tell me your views on this week's Raw, and subscribe if you wish. Okay, bye.